These videos show a side of North Korea that Kim Jong-un does not want people to see. From hostages
for your forgiveness. Please, I have made the worst mistake of my life.
to weird funerals, these videos are shocking to say the least. Let's take a look. Number 1. Yako Hotel. The glamorous international hotel of North Korea holds a mystifying secret that nobody can answer. There are hidden cameras everywhere. The guests must give their passports at arrival, and communication is a bit hard to manage around the hotel. Most of the floors are dark and empty, but nothing is as eerie as its 5th floor. The mysterious thing about the hotel is that there is no access to the 5th floor of the hotel. It is off-limits to the tourists. The elevators never go to the 5th floor because no button allows you to go there. You can only go through the staircase. A bunch of tourists tried to explore the 5th floor, only to find it filled with propaganda posters and recordings. It is claimed that the floor is designated for the staff, but nobody knows what they are doing out there. What do you think happens there? Number 2. The almost deserted airports. Locals of North Korea are not allowed to travel internationally. Similarly, it is not the first country that pops into the minds of tourists when they think of traveling abroad. This is why the only international airport, Pyongyang International Airport, is empty most times of the year. There are only a few staff members who can help the people going in and out of the country. Sometimes, you might even find the doors locked to the airport. Then, staff members came along and open it just as you walk inside the building. Air Koryo, the airline itself, is the only 1-star rated airline in the world, preventing them from traveling into most of the world's airspace. It doesn't look like they want to go anywhere either. The funny thing is that the airport recently went through a major upgrade in its infrastructure, but it remains as abandoned and empty as ever despite its renovation. Would you ever take a trip here? Number 3. No electricity. There is no electricity in North Korea at night, and sometimes in the day too. The area is pitch black by nighttime, and the commons are pretty much used to it. The hotels do have electricity, but sometimes that runs out too. Most of the houses in the country only have 1 hour of electricity available throughout the day, and that is so they can prepare dinner. Blackouts are pretty common, and no one utters a word against it. Number 4. The American South Korean spy. Kim Jong-II was a businessman turned spy for America and South Korea. The countries were interested in knowing more about North Korea's nuclear and missile program, so they used to meet with the businessmen in China, exchanging secrets. But one day, he was made, and the North Korean intelligence took him away into custody. He was sentenced to 12 years of hard labor and shifted to the prison camp. He used to be under constant surveillance of the guards breathing on his neck. He was also put through various tactics to get him to spill the secrets. His arrest was made public months later when BBC conducted his interview, but that too was done under government control and through an interpreter. After 17 months of struggle by Trump, the businessman was released, along with 2 other American hostages stuck in North Korea. Kim says he is happy that he managed to get out alive from North Korea. Number 5. The teens who got punished. North Korea is not shy of showing that it is a self-sufficient country with its own beliefs. This new footage shows how the country is stubborn about enforcing that ideology around the country. Foreign shows are pretty much banned all over the state. It is not like it is just frowned upon, but instead, the state would put a hard punishment on you. Such a thing happened to these 16-year-old boys who were punished with 12 years of hard labor because they were watching and distributing K-dramas. The teenagers were brought to the center, handcuffed, and given their sentences to assert the ideology of how bad it was to watch a foreign show in the country. Pretty unbelievable, right? Number 6. The assassination of Kim Jong-un's brother. Kim Jong-nam, the estranged brother of Kim Jong-un, was assassinated at the Malaysian airport. The 46-year-old man was at the airport when a woman came running towards him, trying to distract him. Then, another woman sneaked in from behind him and pushed a chemically infused cloth to his face. The man ran towards the security guards to inform them about this bizarre incident, but it was too late. He was rushed to the hospital, only to be pronounced no more. Kim Jong-nam was traveling under a fake name, carrying around 100 grand in his suitcase. But that wasn't as strange as this assassination. One of the females was Indonesian, while the other was Vietnamese. One claimed that she was instructed by 4 strange men to carry out this attempt. They convinced her that it was for a comedy show where she had to distract this person while the other woman pranked him. She had no idea what she was falling into. Many people believe that it is North Korea's own propaganda to attack Kim Jong-nam because the supreme leader did not have good relations with his brother. Number 7. The female traffic police. Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, has female traffic ladies stationed at most traffic stops. You might applaud the act and even admire it, but it is not as positive as it seems. These traffic ladies are the face of Pyongyang. They hold an extremely high status in the community and are handpicked by the supreme leader himself. They go through rigorous training and are considered the prettiest in the society. They need to fulfill a lot of conditions to be ranked as a traffic lady. This whole facade of making them photogenic was done intentionally to make the tourists and locals think that the capital is a pretty and happy place to live. They should be single, attractive, and tall. They must start their careers at the age of 17 and retire by the age of 26. However, many families prefer sending their girls to become traffic ladies in hopes of having a better life in the country. Recently, there were reports that there was a decline in the number of female traffic ladies in the capital. This is because male replacements are now being appointed at traffic stops. The authorities claim that it was a tedious job, but who knows what actually happened that forced the government to change this tradition. Number 8. Hunger in North Korea. The hunger problem in North Korea is at its worst. There are hundreds and thousands of people who are malnourished, and there is no one to bat an eye on the injustice. Statistics show that almost half of the country's population does not have access to enough food. Many of them are children and cannot even stand because of their weakness. The families barely survive, but hunger, surprisingly, is not the worst thing that the inhabitants of North Korea have to see. But what's much more devastating is the fact that the government has made it a way to profit themselves. Human waste is mainly used in the farmlands of North Korea as a way to grow crops. This means that the government demands human waste from families in a specific ratio of around 220 pounds daily. If the demand is not met, the families are forced to pay a hefty fine or bribe the officials. The problem is that the people had nothing to eat in the first place. With this demand imposed on them, the public scrambled into a state of panic, forcing them to steal from public toilets. Number 9. The sister of the supreme leader. The woman who the world believes is the brains behind every sinister move in North Korea is none other than the sister of Kim Jong-un, Kim Yo-jong. When the supreme leader comes down from his position, the kin of Kim Jong-un will take his position. His estranged brother was assassinated at an airport, making the world wonder if it really was all part of a decoy done by the North Korean government. Here is why it is possible. After the brother, the sister is in line for the leadership, since Kim Jong-un's daughter is too young to be the leader. You might think that with the supreme leader away, there might be some hope for the country, but you couldn't be more wrong. Kim Yo-jong is considered to be the mastermind behind all the evil operations running in the country. The supreme leader might be the face of all sanctions and restrictions, but the sister is the one really imposing them. She is considered to be the most wicked and the most dangerous woman on Earth. Do you think it would get much worse if the sister was the leader? It is a vile mystery to unfold right now, but there is no positive answer. Number 10. The funeral of Kim Jong II. The man who ruled the country for 17 years, Kim Jong-il, naturally passed away while he was traveling on a train. The news was kept hidden for more than 50 hours until it was finally revealed to the world. Considering how the country is stubborn about keeping everything hidden, it does not come as surprising. However, some sources believe that it was not a natural event. The story did not add up to the facts of the day, and there were barely any witnesses. The train that he was supposed to be in was stationary when all of this happened, raising more questions about whether it was an assassination. The new supreme leader, Kim Jong-un, was seen walking along with the casket of his father, his head bowed down. The escort put on a parade with the casket circled around the city's center as guns were fired in honor of the leader. But the astonishing thing was the reaction to the funeral. People wailed and beat their chests as the cars passed through the roads. The display of mass grief was beyond imaginable and could only be believed because of this raw footage. It shows how the country is forced to believe that its supreme leader is their only chance at survival and happiness. It only saddens the whole ordeal of how these people are trapped within a certain ideology. Number 11. The moving fortress. While many people prefer traveling in private airplanes, that is not the case with North Korea's supreme leader. Kim Jong-un is known to travel in private trains that have 19 known stations throughout the country. Recently, a new train, Taeyang-ho, was inaugurated to give the supreme leader the best form of security. But the impressive thing about this train is its high security. They are no ordinary trains. Instead, they are fitted with luxury compartments and advanced weapons and are bulletproof. And we aren't just talking about any weapons. The train is fitted with air missiles and anti-aircraft guns to combat any operation in case of an emergency. This train is nearly 1,900 feet long with 20 carriages. Some of them are used completely by the supreme leader, while others are used for the staff necessary to aid Kim Jong-un in need. He can travel to China without prying eyes noticing his every movement. The train helps the supreme leader keep his security in check and allows other elite officials of the country to travel through guarded locations. The routes are always unpredictable, making it hard to track their movements. Pretty neat, right? Number 12. The prison camps of North Korea. Prisoners rarely have a good story to tell, but the prisoners of North Korea have only horrifying things to repeat about their sentences. There have been many harrowing tales about prisoners who have had to do hard labor for decades for pretty small crimes. You could be sentenced for a petty thing, like listening to South Korean music. The next thing you know, you are doing years of hard labor somewhere in the country. And it is exactly how it sounds. Some prisoners say that they were forced to get up at 6 in the morning and work a 10-hour shift from 8 to 6 in the evening. Tasks included picking up rocks or shoveling, but the continuous work could put any man to breaking his back. A prisoner reported that he lost around 60 pounds in his 2 years of the sentence. The prisoners all claim that the living conditions are the worst. There are too many people stuffed inside small spaces. There is little to no food to feed the prisoners, and medical attention is seldom available. As a result, many people pass away because of hard labor. They are never energized enough to meet the rigorous hours of their sentences. Number 13. No TV shows allowed. There are only 4 channels allowed in North Korea. No, it is not a joke. The North Korean government has allowed only 4 programs to run on the TV screens, forcing the same ideology over and over again. This brainwashing tactic by the government allows them to keep the population under control of what they want the public to see. The few programs that the public can see are Korean Central Television, Mansudai Television, Ryongnamsun Television, and Athletic Television. Several educational programs, emergency broadcasts, and local competitions are run on the TV screens. Plus, there is no internet to browse through social media either. You are only allowed to use the internet if you are from the elite or are studying an advanced field. That's it. Can you imagine? Number 14. Metro trains of North Korea. The metro system of Pyongyang is considered to work as a nuclear bunk. The system is present around 300 feet underground. The system was under scrutiny for a long time since only 2 of the 17 stops were opened to tourists. The world used to think it was all a setup. Then, all of the stops opened, but not without the Korean propaganda bursting through the loudspeakers. The whole system is political, but it doubles up as a bunker in case of a nuclear emergency, quite fitting for a country threatening war all the time. Number 15. The North Korean propaganda. There is no doubt that the country is adamant about keeping the population of locals controlled to a greater extent. But the real propaganda is not controlling them, but brainwashing the locals into thinking that it is the best life that they could ever live. Many songs released by the government show happy faces who love the supreme leader and his rules. Every single person is monitored closely, so no one steps out of line or takes a gander at the outside world, which might be much more compelling to the locals. Everything is controlled, and the public has no idea what goes on outside. There are also fake social media accounts that show a happy North Korean life to outsiders. Here is something to give you a little bit of perspective. A huge population of North Korea strongly believes that life in the West is much worse than the life that they are living. They are forced to believe that 99% of the people in the United States are suffering from poverty. If told otherwise, they straightly deny the claim. Number 16. Concentration camps. There are around 4 known prison camps inside the country, but Camp 22 is one of the worst ones in the world. Tucked away at a remote location, the concentration camp holds horror stories like no other. There were an estimated 50,000 prisoners in the camp, but the actual number remains unknown. Some reports say that the humans are left to hopeless souls walking around the camps. The food was almost none, and the prisoners were forced to eat insects and rats off the floor. Almost 2,000 prisoners were put to rest every year because of the harsh conditions of these camps. The camps were overflowing, and they didn't have normal prisoners. Most of them were deemed guilty of being politically unreliable and thrown into these camps to live the rest of their lives. Escape is almost impossible with electric fences and watchtowers guarding every exit. People who do manage to escape are not treated with any mercy. There is no way out once you're in the Camp 22. Number 17. 3-generation rule. There have been many North Korean defectors who have tried to escape the horrifying regimen of the country. Because of extreme starvation, many people opt for escape routes that are nothing short of an execution sentence themselves. But the people risk their lives because the outcome of the unknown is much better than what they are going through in the country. The humans are transported through small boats, forcing the humans to cramp inside small and hidden spaces. They are compelled to go through unhygienic and overcrowded boats to reach their destination. And their fate there always remains uncertain. While some have survived, many people are caught by the North Korean authorities or sold to smugglers by the Chinese for human trafficking. The ones who are sent back to North Korea see a long punishment ahead of them. 3 generations have to suffer for the escape a brave person tries to conquer. They claim that the blood is guilty and the 3 generations have to pay for the crime, even if they are children or old people. Number 18. Ottowari, the American hostage. Ottowari was a student who had come on tour to North Korea with his friends. A day before their departure, Warmby was off the radar for around 2 hours. His friends had no clue where he went, and there wasn't any other proof of his mysterious disappearance. Suddenly, when he was leaving, the authorities came and arrested him from the airport. Then, the bizarre footage was publicized on TV screens. Warmby apologized for stealing a propaganda poster showing a North Korean missile attacking the White House. The strange thing was that he was reading from a paper, not even saying his own words. This sent shockwaves around the whole world. Was North Korea unjustly putting an allegation on him and then sentencing him to 15 years of hard labor? That was nothing short of crazy. The parents were devastated. Trump came and took measures to bring him back around a year and a half later. But when Warmby came back, he passed out within 6 days of a brain injury. Authorities say that Warmby had been in that state for around a year. However, his parents believe that the North Korean authorities harmed him. A professional medical team denied these claims, but the parents were adamant that their sweet boy must have gone through something terrible in the North Korean prison camp. It is not like it is a popular place. What do you think? Number 19. The soldier who escaped. The son of a general who used to live on $100 a month would rather have opted for freedom by risking his life. What does that tell you about North Korea? This man, Chongsong, was seen barreling his jeep towards the military demarcation line separating North Korea from South Korea. The car crashed near the border because of a loose tire, but he didn't stop there. He bolted out of the vehicle and darted toward the border while North Korean soldiers could be seen firing at him. A total of 2 bursts of 40 rounds were heard firing toward O's direction. 4 bullets connected, 2 hitting him in the stomach, while the other 2 hitting him on the shoulder. Another hit him in his lung. The man was down, but he did not lose hope. He kept dragging himself across the border inch by inch, trying to get over the line. Under the heavy gunfire, he somehow managed to cross over to the South Korean side. The soldiers there dragged him to safety as an American medical team pushed to keep him alive. He was in dire need of immediate surgery, but he got out alive to tell the tale. In a shocking report, O's digestive tract had many long parasitic worms crawling inside. This showed a horrifying story about the lifestyle of the many North Koreans on the other side of the border. O claims that he had crossed a checkpoint and feared that he would be executed, so he kept running. He also says that the US-North Korea tension was at its peak, and a war could have happened any second that made him take this decision. Not so surprisingly, shortly after the escape, a gate was built where the Jeep had crashed to further minimize the chances of a possible fleeing attempt. Number 20. No face folding. Another strange fact about the country is that you cannot fold a newspaper such that it wrinkles the face of the supreme leader. It is banned, and you could be punished if you were to be found doing such a crime. Not to mention that it is extremely hard not to fold the face, since Kim Jong-un's face is pretty much on every other page of the newspaper in large portraits. That's all on the weird clips that came out of North Korea. They are enough to send shivers down your spine and make you grateful for your life. Let us know in the comments what you felt after watching this video. Hit the thumbs up icon and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for more.